See, kids get it. You don't have to do much with kids because kids have none of that. They don't have any of those expectations or biases that adults do. White kids aren't born racist. Their parents create racism in them, right? Like my daughter will tell people, she was just at the hotel the other day and she was talking to this kid who was clearly, his parents were both black, and she was talking to him, and I heard her say in the pool, she was like, I'm brown too. She said, I'm not brown like you. She said, you're browner than I am, but I'm brown too. And Logan walked into the pool area and he goes, that's your dad? She said, yeah, I told you I was brown. Kids don't care, right? Kids do fine. Adults, we're the ones with all the problems, right? We're the ones that get caught up in all of that. But kids do it good. All you have to do is just tell it to them straight. They get it. They have no problem. I had a client who transitioned, and he was born female, and he was transitioning, and his problem was actually from Indiana. His family was having such a hard time, and they were all sitting around, and they were worried about telling the 2- and 3-year-old niece and nephew. And he was like, if you just tell them, they'll get it. Like, there's not a problem. And his sister, who was having such a hard time, was just having a meltdown about it. She was like, no, it's going to confuse them. This is going to be terrible. So they kind of made a bet on it, and they called the kid in. And so the mom said to her son, she said, you know, she pointed to him and she asked him if he was a boy or a girl. But she used his female name. She used Aunt Michelle. She said, is Aunt Michelle a boy or a girl? He looked and he's like, well, she's a boy. Now, he's using female pronouns. He's always used female pronouns for her. He's always called her Aunt Michelle, but he knew she was a boy, right? That's how they played. They played trucks and roughhoused and did all this stuff. And it's the energy. Kids know energy. They get it. So you don't have to do anything. Actually, it's the adults in their lives that usually screw them up. Yeah.
How does a transgender person have kids? Like, is there a way to have kids naturally, or is it on adoption?
There's a cabbage patch. The stork comes down. Yes, trans people have fertility issues just like any other couple would. So the good news is that everyone, that's a generalization, most everyone is born with sperm or egg. And all you need is both of those things, and then a place to put it. So it just kind of depends. I have male clients who have had babies. Yes. So they were born female, they identify as male, they transitioned, but they didn't have surgery, they still have a uterus, they had a baby. All you need is the parts. Doesn't matter how the person who has the parts identifies, right? You just need the parts. So there's a lot, I mean, as long as you have the parts, you want to start opening it up and thinking about that, right? Like, so if you have a man who has a uterus and you have a woman who has a penis, they have no fertility issues if they're both all working correctly, right? So there's lots of different ways, but there's not one way to do it. The most difficult thing I would tell you is that many times if insurance finds out that you are trans, they will not cover fertility options for you, or you cannot adopt if you are trans and out because they will not allow you to adopt in most states. So you have to be very careful about those things. But there are just as many fertility options for trans people as there are for anybody else.
Some guys have their eggs harvested before they have surgery, and some people have their sperm cut. There's a lot of different ways to do it.
So we are over time, but do you have any last? So we left a sheet back there. We would like you to give us your names and email addresses. If you ever know of anyone who needs anything related to transitioning or help around gender stuff, you can call us, you can tell us, and we will help, okay? If you want any information about anything, please feel free to let us know. And advocate to have more talks like these so we can come back or you can have someone else come back and continue the conversation to further this. And thanks for having us.